Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're exploring something I find super fascinating. The idea that our outer world mirrors our inner world.
It's an idea that pops up everywhere, from ancient wisdom traditions to modern psychology.
Yeah, like we found this awesome blog post, and it ties together all these different perspectives, plus it even offers some practical tools for personal transformation.
It's not just theory, it's about real-life application.
Exactly. So the blog post starts with something called the seven Essene mirrors, which honestly sounds a little woo-woo to me.
I get that. The Essenes were an ancient spiritual group, but you don't have to be into mysticism to appreciate the wisdom of these mirrors. They're basically a framework for understanding how our inner world, our beliefs, emotions, all that jazz shows up in our outer experiences.
Okay, so each mirror reflects a different aspect of us back to us, like a multi-dimensional funhouse mirror.
Kind of, but instead of distorting our image, these mirrors help us see ourselves more clearly.
I like that. Okay, so tell me more about these mirrors. What are they all about?
Well, the first one is the mirror of the present moment.
Okay, that one seems pretty straightforward. Like what I'm experiencing right now reflects my current state of being.
Exactly. It's a reminder that we're not just victims of circumstance. Our inner world creates our reality.
Okay, I can get on board with that. What about the second mirror?
This one's called the mirror of judgment.
Oh, interesting. I feel like I could learn a lot from that one. I'm definitely a judgmental person sometimes.
Well, this mirror suggests that what we judge in others often reflects something within ourselves that we haven't fully accepted or acknowledged.
So it's not about blaming ourselves for being judgmental, but rather using those judgments as clues to understand ourselves better.
Exactly. Like if you find yourself constantly judging people who are messy, it might be worth exploring your own relationship with order and control.
Ooh, that's hitting a little close to home. Okay, I'm starting to see how these mirrors work. What's next one?
The third mirror is the mirror of loss.
Loss. Sounds heavy.
It can be, but it's also a powerful mirror for understanding patterns in our lives. This mirror suggests that our experiences of loss, whether it's giving something away, having something taken from us, or even just feeling a sense of lack, show up in our current reality.
So if I'm feeling financially insecure, it might be connected to past experiences of loss or scarcity.
It's definitely worth exploring. Our past experiences, even the ones we've buried deep down, can have a ripple effect on our present.
Okay, this is getting deep. What's the next mirror all about?
This one's called the mirror of forgotten love.
Forgotten love. That sounds intriguing.
It's all about the qualities we admire in others. This mirror suggests that those qualities actually reflect aspects of ourselves that we've forgotten to love or express.
So like, if I'm drawn to people who are super confident, it might be a sign that I need to embrace my own confidence.
Exactly. It's like those people are holding up a mirror, reflecting back to us our own hidden potential.
Wow, I'm loving these mirrors. They're like a roadmap to self-discovery. What's next?
The fifth mirror is the mirror of parents.
Ah, our parents. They definitely play a big role in shaping who we are.
This mirror suggests that our relationship with our parents, both the positive and the challenging aspects, influences all of our other relationships.
So, like, if I had a controlling parent, I might find myself attracting partners who are also controlling.
It's a common pattern. We often recreate the dynamics we learned in childhood in our adult relationships.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. What about the sixth mirror?
This one is the mirror of the quest.
The quest. Sounds adventurous.
It's all about the challenges and obstacles we face in life. This mirror suggests that those challenges are actually opportunities for growth and learning, guiding us toward our soul's purpose.
So instead of seeing obstacles as setbacks, we can choose to see them as part of our journey.
Exactly. It's a shift in perspective that can be incredibly empowering.
Okay, last but not least, what's the seventh mirror?
This one's called the mirror of self-perception.
Self-perception. Isn't that just how we see ourselves?
It is, but this mirror goes deeper. It suggests that our deepest beliefs about ourselves, even the ones we're not consciously aware of, shape how we experience the world.
So if I believe I'm not worthy of love, I'm more likely to attract experiences that confirm that belief.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Our beliefs create our reality.
Wow, these seven mirrors are amazing. I feel like I could spend hours unpacking each one. But I'm curious, how does this all tie in with this dual mirror principle thing the blog post mentions.
So these scene mirrors give us what's being reflected. The dual mirror principle from a guy named Vadim Zeland helps explain how the mechanics of this inner-outer reflection process.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me.
He talks about two mirrors. The internal mirror reflects our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. The external mirror is the physical world reflecting back those inner states.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts, but about our overall energy and attitude.
Exactly. Zeland calls it indirect reflection. It's the vibe we're putting out there, not just the specific thoughts we're thinking.
But what about those times when I'm feeling really positive, but things in my outer world still seem to be a mess?
That's where Zeland's time delay rule comes in. He says there's often a lag between our inner shifts and the external manifestations.
So it's about trusting the process and being patient, even when we don't see immediate results.
Patience is key. And remember, sometimes the changes are subtle at first.
Okay, this is all making more sense. The Essene mirrors show me what to pay attention to, and Zeland's principles explain how it all works behind the scenes. But what about this idea that everyone is yourself pushed out? That one's kind of freaking me out.
I hear you. It's a bold statement, for sure. Neville Goddard, the guy who said it, was a mystic and a bit of a mind-bender.
Okay, so what does it actually mean? Are you saying I'm responsible for everyone else's actions?
Not exactly. It's more about recognizing that everyone in our lives, even the people who annoy us, reflects different aspects of our own consciousness.
So, like, if I keep attracting drama into my life, it's a sign to look inward and see what unresolved drama I might be carrying within myself.
You got it. It's about taking ownership of our inner world and realizing its power to shape our experience.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But if our inner world is so powerful, how do we actually change it? I mean, we've all got baggage, right?
Absolutely. We all have our stuff. But that's where the practical tools come in. The blog post talks about something called emotional freedom technique, or EFT.
I've heard of that, something about tapping.
Yeah, it might sound a little out there, but it's actually quite simple. You tap on specific acupressure points on your body while focusing on the limiting belief or negative emotion you want to release.
So you're literally tapping away those limiting beliefs.
It's like acupressure for emotional baggage.
That's fascinating. But how does it actually work? Does it really make a difference?
It's not magic, but it can be incredibly effective. It helps to rewire those neural pathways in our brains that are keeping us stuck in old patterns.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more about how EFT is being used in different areas of life. Like, can it actually help people achieve their goals or improve their relationships?
The blog post has some amazing examples. Like, there's a story about a guy named Tom. He always saw himself as a capable leader, but struggled with self-doubt, which held him back from going for a promotion at work.
So he was using EFT to tap on those negative beliefs and step into his full potential. Did it actually work?
It did. He combined the tapping with visualizations of himself, embodying those leadership qualities he admired, and within a year, he got that promotion.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like EFT helped him align his inner world with his desired outer outcome.
Exactly. His internal shift created an external change.
Okay, this is blowing my mind. What other examples are there?
Well, there's also a story about a woman named Emma who used EFT to break free from some toxic relationship patterns.
Oh, I can relate to that. I've definitely had my fair share of relationship drama. Wait, what did she discover through using EFT?
She realized her relationship patterns were mirroring some unresolved childhood wounds, specifically a lack of emotional connection with her parents.
So those past hurts were showing up in her present relationships.
It's a classic example of how our past can influence our present. But by tapping on those old hurts and building her self-worth, she was able to shift her energy and attract healthier relationships.
That's amazing. It's like EFT helped her heal those old wounds and create a new reality for herself.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of our inner world and realizing its power to shape our experience.
This is so empowering. But what about the money stuff? Can EFT help with that too?
You bet. The blog post mentions a guy who used EFT to overcome his financial struggles. He had a lot of limiting beliefs about money, but through tapping and visualization, he shifted his mindset from scarcity to abundance and started attracting more financial opportunities.
Wow. So it's not about winning the lottery or anything like that, but about changing our internal relationship with money.
Exactly. Our beliefs about money create our financial reality.
Okay, this deep dive has been a whirlwind of information. We've covered so much ground: ancient mirrors, modern principles, even this EFT technique, and I'm starting to see how it all fits together. but my brain is definitely feeling full right now.
I hear you. It's a lot to process. But the beauty of this concept is that you can start small.
Okay, good. Small steps. I can handle that. So where do we go from here? What are some simple ways we can start applying these principles in our own lives?
Well, first, just start paying attention to the reflections in your own life. What are they trying to show you?
Okay, that seems doable. Just start noticing. What else?
And if you're feeling adventurous, try experimenting with EFT. The blog post even includes a website where you can find more information and resources.
Perfect. I'm already feeling inspired to start making some changes. This deep dive has been incredible. We've only just scratched the surface, though, right? There's still so much more to explore.
Absolutely. We've got more fascinating examples to dive into, plus some practical tips for applying these principles to your own life.
I can't wait. Bring on part 2.
Okay, so we've talked about the 7 Essene mirrors and Zealand's dual mirror principle, but now let's get practical. How can we use this in our everyday lives?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, it's cool to think about our inner world shaping our reality, but how do we actually make that work for us? The blog post mentions some examples of how people have used these principles in different areas of life.
Exactly. And one of the areas where this stuff gets really interesting is in relationships. The blog post tells the story of a woman, let's call her Sarah, who was constantly feeling jealous and insecure in her romantic relationship.
Oh, jealousy. Been there, done that. It's like a monster that can take over your whole mind. What did Sarah do?
Well, she realized that her jealousy was actually a reflection of her own insecurities. It wasn't really about what her partner was doing, but about her own deep-seated beliefs about herself.
So she was using the mirror of judgment on herself. Like, instead of judging her partner, she turned that judgment inward.
Exactly. She started to see that the qualities she was judging in her partner, like being flirty or charming, were actually qualities she admired but felt she lacked.
So it wasn't really about her partner at all. It was about her own insecurities and what they were reflecting back to her. That's pretty profound.
And once she realized that, she was able to start addressing those deeper issues within herself. She used EFT tapping to work on her self-worth and release those feelings of inadequacy.
So she was literally tapping away those negative beliefs. I'm telling you, this EFT stuff is starting to sound like magic.
It's not magic, but it can be pretty powerful. By addressing her own inner world, Sarah was able to shift the dynamic in her relationship. As she became more secure and confident, she found that the jealousy and insecurity naturally dissipated.
So she changed herself, and her relationship changed too. It's like proof that this whole inner-outer reflection thing really works. Okay, so we've talked about relationships. What about career success? I know a lot of people struggle with feeling stuck in their jobs or not knowing what their true calling is.
Yeah, that's a big one. And guess what? The same principles apply. The blog post shares the story of a guy named Alex. He was in a job that paid well, but he felt totally unfulfilled. He had a passion for writing, but he was too afraid to pursue it.
Oh, I can relate to that. Fear can be such a dream killer. What did he do?
He realized that his fear of failure was holding him back. He had this belief that he wasn't a good enough writer, and that belief was keeping him stuck. So he decided to use EFT tapping to address those fears and to start visualizing himself as a successful writer.
So he was using his imagination to create a new reality for himself.
Exactly. And it worked. As he tapped on those limiting beliefs and started to visualize his success, he felt a shift within himself. He gained the confidence to start writing again, and eventually he quit his job to pursue his passion full-time.
That's amazing. So he literally tapped into his dream career. It's like those fears were just illusions holding him back. And once he released them, his true path became clear. Okay, this is getting me pumped up. What about money? Can we use this stuff to attract more abundance into our lives?
Absolutely. The blog post talks about how our beliefs about money can create our financial reality. If we believe that money is scarce or that we're not worthy of abundance, we're likely to experience lack in our lives.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We create what we believe.
Exactly. But the good news is we can change those beliefs. The blog post mentions a guy who used EFT tapping to overcome his financial struggles. He had a lot of negative beliefs about money, but through tapping and visualization, he was able to shift his mindset to one of abundance and start attracting more financial opportunities.
So he literally tapped into wealth. I'm starting to see a pattern here. This tapping thing seems like it could be used for anything. Okay, let's move on to health and well-being. I know a lot of people struggle with stress, anxiety, even chronic health conditions. Can these mirror principles help with that too?
Definitely. The blog post emphasizes the mind-body connection and how our thoughts and emotions can have a profound impact on our physical health.
Yeah, it's like when I'm stressed, I get tension headaches or an upset stomach. My body is literally reflecting my inner state.
Exactly. And the blog post suggests that EFT tapping can be a powerful tool for addressing those emotional patterns that are contributing to our physical symptoms.
So we can tap away those headaches and stomach aches. I'm liking this EFT stuff more and more.
And it's not just about treating the symptoms, it's about addressing the root cause, which often lies in our emotional and mental patterns.
So it's a holistic approach,
Uh-huh.
looking at the whole person, not just the physical symptoms. I like that. What about spirituality? Does the blog post touch on that at all?
It does. It suggests that our outer world is constantly reflecting back to us our level of spiritual awareness.
That's interesting. So, like, if I'm feeling lost or disconnected from my purpose, it might be a sign that I need to pay more attention to my spiritual side.
It's a possibility worth exploring. The blog post suggests that practices like meditation, prayer, and connecting with nature can help us deepen our spiritual connection and gain a greater sense of purpose and meaning in life.
I can definitely see how those practices could help us tune in to our inner wisdom and connect with something bigger than ourselves. This deep dive has been a wild ride. It feels like we've covered so much ground, but I know there's still more to come.
We've got one more part to go, and it's all about practical tools and techniques for integrating these principles into your everyday life. So get ready to take this knowledge from your head to your heart and start creating the reality you desire.
Okay, I'm ready. Bring on the practical magic. Okay, so we've talked about all these amazing ideas about how our inner world shapes our outer experience, but now I'm ready for the nitty-gritty. Like, how do we actually put this into practice and start making some real changes in our lives?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. And the good news is that there are tons of practical tools and techniques that can help us bridge that gap between knowing and doing.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of those tools and techniques?
The blog post emphasizes that it all starts with awareness, like really paying attention to the patterns that are showing up in your life.
So it's about becoming more observant, more tuned in to those subtle cues. Like, what kind of patterns should we be looking for?
Think about those recurring themes, the challenges that keep popping up, the types of people you keep attracting into your life. Those are all valuable clues from your inner world trying to get your attention.
Okay, I'm starting to see how those patterns can be like little messengers from our subconscious trying to tell us something. But sometimes it's hard to decipher those messages, right? Like, how do we know what they mean?
That's where self-reflection comes in. Take some time to journal, meditate, or talk to a trusted friend or therapist. Ask yourself, what is this pattern trying to teach me? What beliefs or wounds might be contributing to this dynamic?
So it's about digging a little deeper, getting curious about those underlying causes. But sometimes it can be scary to face those deeper parts of ourselves, right? Like, what if we don't like what we find?
It can definitely be intimidating. But the thing is, those shadow parts of ourselves are already running the show, whether we're aware of them or not. So it's better to bring them into the light of consciousness and start working with them intentionally.
That makes sense. It's like once we become aware of those patterns and beliefs, we can start to change them. Okay, so we've got awareness and self-reflection. What other tools are in this transformative toolbox?
Well, we've talked about EFT tapping, which can be incredibly effective for releasing those limiting beliefs and negative emotions that are keeping us stuck.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by EFT. It sounds like it can be used for pretty much anything.
And it's not the only tool out there. There are tons of other modalities that can support us on this journey, like affirmations, visualizations, even energy healing.
So many options. It can feel overwhelming to know where to start. Do you have any suggestions for how to choose the right tools for us?
It's about finding what resonates with you. Experiment with different practices and see what feels good, what shifts something within you. And remember, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. What works for one person might not work for another.
Okay, that's good advice. It's about trusting our intuition and finding what feels aligned. But even with all these amazing tools and techniques, sometimes it's easy to fall back into old patterns, right? Like, how do we stay motivated and keep moving forward on this path of growth?
That's where self-compassion and patience come in. It's a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, setbacks and breakthroughs. The key is to be kind to yourself along the way and celebrate those small wins.
That's such an important reminder. It's easy to get caught up in the striving and forget to appreciate how far we've come. Okay, I'm feeling inspired and ready to put all of this into practice, but before we wrap up, I have one last question. With all this emphasis on our inner world, does that mean we should just ignore the outer world? Like, does taking action in the world still matter?
That's a great question. And the answer is it's not an either or situation, it's both. Our inner work lays the foundation for aligned action in the world.
So it's like our inner transformation fuels and informs our outer actions. We become more effective agents of change when we're aligned within ourselves.
Exactly. And as we embody these principles, we naturally become a force for positive change in the world. It's like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Ooh, I love that quote. This deep dive has been incredible. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface, but it's already shifting my perspective in profound ways.
And that's the beauty of it. It's a journey of ongoing exploration and discovery. The more we delve into these concepts, the more we realize how interconnected everything is.
It's like we're all part of this grand cosmic dance, and our inner world is the choreographer.
What a beautiful way to put it. And as we become more conscious of our inner world, we become more masterful dancers, creating a reality that is more aligned with our soul's purpose and our highest potential.
I'm so grateful for this deep dive. It's given me so much to think about and so many tools to work with.
It's been a joy exploring these concepts with you. Remember, the power to create the life you desire lies within you. Trust your inner wisdom, embrace the journey, and never stop exploring the amazing potential that resides within.
On that note, we'll leave you to continue the most important conversation you can have, the one with yourself.